if you don't have the outer successes in life, there must be something wrong with you. And we have to change that conversation. We have to change the conversation from something is wrong with you to, oh, there's something that's pointing to something that needs your attention, that you have the power to change, and empowering people. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Soul Sessions with Creative Mind. I'm Debra Berndt Maldonado, and I'm here with Dr. Rob Maldonado.
Great to be here.
And we are finalizing our series on mental health and what we can do about it. And this episode is the future of mental health. What can we do in the future? What is in store for us to improve the mental health of our society? Before we get started, though, I'd love for you to subscribe to our channel. Click on the button in the corner if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe here, or if you're listening to a podcast service, make sure you click subscribe on your podcast service so you do not miss another episode. So let's review a little bit of where we were at and where we're going. So we talked about children's mental health issues.
Yeah, and with kids, primarily the main message that we wanted to get across is that we have really good knowledge about brain development, social skills development, just development in general, and how we can support kids. And so we have this knowledge. All we need to do is implement it.
Yes.
And then we looked at women's mental health issues. There we see, again, that if we support women, we support society, because they create community, they take care of kids, they just build new businesses, new life, essentially. And so it's an important thing to keep in mind that if we want to help the world, we need to support women.
And then the third one is mental health with men and the stigma. I mean, we talked about there's a stigma in mental health just in general, but for men, it's even worse, that they're less likely to seek treatment or seek help because of the stigma of a man having anxiety, or a man being depressed, or having some kind of even more serious issue or diagnosis that they don't want to deal with. And they often deal with it through alcohol or drugs, or like I said, trying to be successful and pushing their feelings away, or athletics, using like running or working out to, escape from their mindset and not really dealing and coping with their emotions. So, so those three, but this episode is really about, well, what's the future? We have so much information. Like you always tell me, there's so much available. We know so much about the mind. We know the brain and the mind and the emotions, and we have all these tools. And why are we at this state? Why is the world at such a critical state in mental health?
Yeah. So we put together this list of projections, recommendations for future development in mental health, so that we can start to have these conversations, not only in the mental health community, but in the coaching community, in education, in politics. We need to bring these ideas to the forefront. And of course, this is not a comprehensive list, but
it's a start.
Yeah, it's a start, and we think these factors are really some of the most important ones. First of all, prevention. Just like in health, prevention goes a long way in avoiding mental health issues. So lifestyle, we know, is the key to prevention. In other words, we need to help people change their lifestyle, understand how is it that stress, work, family disruptions,
health
issues, all these things play into the mental wellness of people.
It's like if you don't address it when it's small, and then you kind of push it aside, it'll get to a critical point. Just like with physical health, if you keep eating fats and sugars and then you get a heart attack, maybe we start off sooner and eat healthier, and that would prevent that really intense event in the body. So we need to do the same with the mind. How are we creating a lifestyle where we're not stressed out? And chronic stress is really very high in society. It's almost as if it's a normalization of it, especially in America. There's this normalization. We go to Europe and everyone's relaxed, and you're here in the US. I don't know if any of our European friends or listeners come to the US, and you can feel the tension. There's just a lot more tension, a lot more needing to gain success and have a bigger house than your neighbor, or having better furniture, or, your kids getting the awards at school, and this competitiveness of, this exceptionalism. And that puts a lot of pressure on people.
Absolutely.
We don't have the same time off that people have overseas. It's work, have 2 days off, and then maybe you'll go back to the grind again. It's really stressful. So how can we change our work habits? How can we change our eating habits? How can we really start preventing things, our life, to be more happy and whole, so it doesn't reach those critical points?
Yes. And one of the optimistic perspectives is that we see a lot of people practicing yoga. And yoga has become so popular, not only in the US, but around the world, that this is a great sign, right? That people are paying attention to their lifestyle. And yoga, as a complete system, a complete mind-body system, hits all the marks, right? It's talking about diet. It's talking about breath work. It's talking about relaxation, as well as mind-body exercises that, help you relax and be flexible and be well in your body. It's an incredible way to prevent not only physical illness, but mental health illness as well.
Yes, and it gets you in your body. We live in our heads so much, so having some kind of movement process that we do, even meditation, to get into our bodies, not looking to escape all the time. That's also great. And I think that when we look at it, the second point is empowerment. We need to change our conversation around mental health and see it less of mental health is only for people that are diagnosed with some kind of disorder and they need to go get treatment and therapy or medication. Mental health is wellness. It's about being in peace with your body, having a peaceful mind, being able to cope with manage your emotions and not stuff them or let them fly off on the handle, or get angry, or dealing with anger or your uncomfortable emotions. How do we work with them? And all that is empowerment versus pathologizing. Unless we're the perfect, calm person, there must be something wrong with us.
Yeah, that's true. And that's part of that stigma, right? That we tend to frame mental health issues in the medical model, right? Or through the medical model, we see it as pathology, that there's a problem and that we need to fix it through medication, through intervention, through kind of these serious therapies. Now, of course, some people need that there's nothing wrong with that. But most of us, right, if we're dealing with stress, if we're dealing with everyday kind of mental health issues like anxiety and depression, before they get to those clinical levels, really, it's not a pathology. It's simply our mind telling us, you need to pay attention. You need to find a way to relax. You need to find a way to approach life in a more open and creative way.
And I think that it's actually a gift when something doesn't work out in our life to not pathologize it. I know for me, when I first started doing personal development, and it was like, oh, you're single, you must have something broken in you, and that's why you don't have the relationship. Or, oh, you're not making money, you must have some money wound, or your inner child needs healing. And it's like, if you don't have the outer successes in life, there must be something wrong with you. And we have to change that conversation. We have to change the conversation from something is wrong with you to, oh, there's something that's pointing to something that needs your attention, that you have the power to change, and empowering people. So I think more people would do personal development even personal development has a stigma. Oh, you're going to that workshop, you're always working on yourself. And what if it's not working on yourself, but what if it's about evolving yourself and growing instead of fixing, that fixing mentality? And there's a lot of blending with therapy and personal development where it feels that you're I would go to like a workshop and I'd be like, oh my God, I have to deal with forgiving my father again, or working on my inner child. And it's just exhausting after a while. And it will push people away and discourage people. What if we can approach it in a more empowering way, that we're going to get to know ourselves. And the more we know about ourselves, the more control we have over our life. And it's an exciting thing to do and creative versus this terrible weight that we have to dig ourselves out of.
I like that. And then finally, these trends that we see that are very, they kind of give us hope that things are moving in the right direction. We see technology taking on a very creative role now because people are accepting more this telehealth model, that you can talk to your physician online through Zoom, through other modes. You can talk to your therapist through the computer, so you don't have to go to the office.
It makes it more accessible.
You can get coaching. You can learn at home through your computer. And it also means you can reach people, or we can reach people wherever they are. They live in a farm somewhere in Iowa, no problem.
You can build a community if you don't have friends nearby. You live in a place where there's not a lot of connection. You could build a community online now.
Yes.
And so there's a way for you to connect.
And it's just starting, because as technology evolves and people embrace this model, it means we'll be able to reach everyone on the planet. No one will be without services. If they need it, it'll be there.
And they have those apps now, like Calm and these meditation apps that you can, Insight Timer. I'm on that. My meditations are on that one. And you can listen to these meditations, and it's free for, the free download, and you can listen to some breathing exercises. All those things are readily available now to anyone. It doesn't cost any money except to have a phone, which we all have. So it's easy to have access now, much more than ever before. You don't have to wait to go to a yoga class to experience a breathwork experience, or even yoga now is on YouTube. You can plug in a YouTube yoga class and take one at home. So technology is really amazing.
The other trend is psychedelics. Now this is exciting.
I haven't tried it yet. I think I want to try it.
We're not saying go out and try it, but educate yourself on it. The research indicates that it has great potential to help people kind of get out of that depression and anxiety.
And from a Jungian perspective, like a Jungian coaching perspective, how would you see psychedelics for someone who is like getting trained as a Jungian coach? They wouldn't facilitate it, but how can that could be understanding what happens in those states?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of connections to Jung's work, because he was looking at shamanism. He was looking at these traditional cultures and what kind of symbols they use in healing and in ritual enactments of transformation.
And the symbols that show up when you do these type of retreats, you see all these symbols, and they come from the collective unconscious, and understanding what they mean, what they symbolize for you. Very, very powerful. I mean, it's more than just having a high, that you can actually use them for your own personal growth, for your own afterwards. Like, it's almost like a heightened dream experience, because we know in our dreams we have symbols as well.
Yes, the great Swami Vivekananda said that all religions have these three factors. They have a philosophy, they have a ritual, and they have a mythology. And so plants and plant rituals and magical plants, they come from that tradition, that they have a rich mythology behind it. They're ritualized in that they're not meant for recreational use. In other words, it's not just to have fun or have these mental experiences. They were specifically designed and enacted to help the individual transform their lives.
So it's not just, I want to go and just have this magical experience. We want to use it toward growth.
That's right. And they evolved, these plants evolved along with humans, and humans evolved along with the plants. The reason they're powerful for us is because we have the neurotransmitters or the neuroreceptors for their chemistry to impact us. And so they're friendly to us in a sense. They support us. But again, we need to understand them, and we need to use them responsibly, use them in a ritualistic way in the context that they evolved in, so that we can really have those transformations. So anyway, the research is indicating that it's a viable way to help people with their depression, with their addiction, with all kinds of mental health issues.
And I think the most amazing thing that's happened since the 90s is coaching. It started out executive coaching was the first out of the gate. Maybe sports coaching has always been around, but this kind of executive coaching, setting goals, working with your mindset, and kind of superficial. But as it evolved, and I think the internet, when it started exploding in the 90s, everyone started to share their personal growth stories. They were able to coach and have workshops and courses, and so personal development became much more accessible to a lot of people. Like, again, you don't have to wait for that workshop at your wellness center on the weekend. You could just plug into a course online. And the coaching industry is the second fastest growing industry in the U.S., and technology is the only one that is succeeding it. And it really is an alternative to therapy, not to replace therapy. It's for people that are high functioning, and most people are high functioning, and most people just need that preventative. Like we talked about, the first point is that coaching can be a prevention of more serious mental health down the line. If you have a coach, you're more likely not to sink down into those darker places. You're going to have someone help motivate you, help be accountable in your life. But, and of course, we have to say Jungian coaching is a little deeper than just setting goals. Jungian coaching is a depth coaching model where we go into the unconscious and we really get to the deeper functions of what's driving someone, what's making them make those lifestyle choices that are not positive, what's driving them to be overwhelmed and try to succeed and, burning out. So we want to work with the whole person when we come to coaching, and this depth coaching model is becoming more and more popular. People are tired of the fluff. I hear a lot of people say, I'm tired of the fluff. I want to go deep. And it's just a great sign. Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about the future as far as mental health goes. So again, prevention. We need to enact ways to help people transform their lifestyle. Empowerment instead of pathology. When pathology is appropriate, no problem. But most of us, like you say, we just need that empowerment factor to transform our lives, to understand that if we're not happy with where we're at, we can change it. We have the power to change it. And then these trends in technology, psychedelics, and coaching that are becoming more acceptable.
Wellness, yoga, meditation, breath work. People are looking for these natural ways to work with their mind and that are very beneficial and have been around for thousands of years. And where finally the modern world is catching up and saying maybe these things have some merit. And so, so our advice to you is to ask yourself, again, what are you doing every week? You don't have to do it every day, but think every week you should be doing something for your mental wellness. You should be making sure you're not stressed, taking time for yourself, not just shutting out and on Netflix and just watching TV to de-stress. Take a walk, do something, meditate, reach out, find a group, find a coach to help you avoid and take your mental health very seriously, because it will pay off as you get older. When you hit really tragic things in your life, you will be prepared for them, to mentally prepared to deal with things that are tough in life. And that's our advice.
Excellent.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this series. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. In the corner there, click the button. And if you are listening to us on Spotify or iTunes or other podcast services, click subscribe and make sure you receive every episode of Soul Sessions. I'm Debra Berndt Maldonado and Robert Maldonado. We are signing off.
See you soon.
Take care.